Hello, everyone. It's been a while since I revisited the topic of restoring AA batteries. Those tiny little tubes of energy that somehow manage to dictate the mood of half the gadgets in the house. Most people toss them away the moment a device stops working. And honestly, I get it. AA batteries are cheap. So cheap that you can buy a whole pack and still have enough money left over for a snack. But that's exactly where the hidden problem begins. They're cheap to buy, but extremely expensive to deal with once they're thrown out. A tiny battery in the wrong place can leak chemicals into soil and water, and then the government steps in with machines, staff, and processes, all paid for by taxpayer money. It's a bit sad, but true. A pack of batteries costing the same as a bowl of soup, if casually discarded, quietly increases the taxpayer's bill to handle toxic waste. Every year, the U.S. spends a surprising amount collecting, sorting, and recycling these seemingly worthless cylinders. The cheapest thing in the house quietly becomes the most expensive burden on both the environment and public budgets. Interestingly, many batteries that seem retired still have a little life left in them. With just a little attention, they can be reintroduced to the world for one more round. Seeing them spring back to life is a little like watching an old friend suddenly take up running marathons. Unexpectedly delightful and surprisingly philosophical. Tiny actions like caring for a few AA batteries actually matter. Less chemical waste in the environment, less strain on public budgets, and cultivating a small habit of patience and responsibility. Sometimes these quiet, small efforts are the ones that make a long-lasting difference. If anyone asks why I bother with this, my answer is simple. Spend a few extra minutes reconsidering before tossing something. The environment feels a bit lighter, our wallets cry less, and maybe, just maybe, future tax bills won't swell like I do after a buffet. Alright, enough heartwarming talk. Let's see whether these tired old batteries still have a spark left in them. The first thing, make me a glass of lightly salted water. Sound odd at first, but it's actually a clever metaphor for how AA batteries can be revived. When an AA battery seems dead, the usual culprits are oxidized terminals or uneven ion distribution inside. In this story, the glass of salt water symbolizes a gentle conductive environment, helping ions move again and restoring internal chemical balance. In other words, just as salt water can help a tired body recover, a tired battery needs a friendly, supportive environment for its ions and electrons to find their proper places and prepare for another cycle of life. So this line isn't just a humorous opening. It's a way to illustrate the principle of battery revival. Patience, the right environment, and a little care can wake up the hidden energy inside. Next, tear a sheet of aluminum foil, roll it into small balls, and drop them into the salt water. This illustrates how a weak AA battery can be revived. The foil represents a metallic electrode, and by increasing the contact surface in the solution, it forms temporary bridges for ions to move. In short, it creates a temporary conductive environment, giving the battery a chance to wake up. Here, I prepare a cable with one USB end. The other end is split into two wires. One connects to the positive terminal of the AA battery. The other is wrapped with aluminum foil. The negative terminal is left untouched. It may sound a bit complicated, but this is how we create a temporary pathway for electric current. The USB cable acts as a middleman, transferring current from the positive terminal to the foil, while the foil in a glass of salt water serves as a temporary bridge, allowing ions inside the battery to move back into place and kickstart the internal electrochemical reaction. In short, just as a tired body might need a glass of salt water to regain energy, a weak battery needs a friendly environment to revive. Every tiny piece of foil, every carefully placed wire, acts like a little highway for ions and electrons, giving the weak battery a chance to wake up safely without touching the negative terminal. The fascinating part is that this seemingly simple action illustrates real physics and chemistry principles, increasing surface contact, creating temporary conductive bridges, and rebalancing internal reactions. At the same time, it reminds us that in DIY, patience, careful setup, and a little imagination are often all it takes to bring something back to life. From a tiny AA battery to almost any small project. And when you see the battery start to come alive again, you realize that reviving a tiny AA battery is a little like rescuing a tiny creature. Scientific, fun, and even a bit philosophical. Small actions quietly make a big difference. When we place the battery assembly in the salt water, we'll let the positive terminal float on top, while the negative and foil-wrapped wires sink. This arrangement creates a temporary conductive bridge. The foil in the salt water helps ions move and restart the internal reaction. In short, if we position it correctly, the battery breathes, current flows, and energy is revived safely and effectively. All right, now we just need to connect it to the power source and wait about 7 minutes. The time is up, and we can disconnect the power and take the battery out. But we're not finished yet. In a moment, we'll clean the battery, removing leftover salt water and any foil residue, so it can be used safely without corrosion or short circuits. During cleaning, we'll use multipurpose oil and sandpaper to scrub both terminals of the battery. The oil helps remove residue and leftover salt water, while reducing friction during scrubbing. The sandpaper gently removes the oxidation layer on the terminals, ensuring good electrical contact when the battery is used again. This simple yet effective step keeps the battery clean and safe, ready to power our devices properly. At the result checking step, we'll see whether all the previous efforts actually worked or were just a waste of time. This is when the battery answers US. If the current is stable and devices operate normally, it proves that our revival process was effective. If it's still weak, at least we know for sure no guessing involved, both scientific and time-saving. The result is a bit surprising, isn't it? Although the battery's charge capacity may be slightly reduced, it doesn't matter much. This means we can use the battery normally, without any worry. Before inserting the AA battery into the wall clock, let's clean the battery slot. Dust or leftover oxidation can cause poor contact, making the clock run inconsistently or drain the battery faster. A quick cleaning ensures the battery makes good contact. The clock runs smoothly, and both the battery and device last longer. So we did it. The wall clock is ticking again. It's amazing to see a battery that seemed dead come back to life, letting the clock run smoothly. Small actions like this help save batteries, reduce waste, and protect the environment. If you found this trick helpful, drop a like and leave a comment sharing how you revive old batteries or other fun DIY tips. I'd love to hear your DIY stories.